people still go to Nevada,
Yeah.
New Mexico, and Mexico and bring them back.
Right.
And it was wild. Here I had my little geeky fireworks. little stuff. And we're watching my neighbor set off stuff that like should be in a show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the stuff that was happening around us.
Aren't those so expensive?
Oh yeah.
I think so.
It's not. I'm gonna try to put a live now thing on Instagram story real quick. But did you have a good 4th otherwise?
Oh, we didn't do a heck of a lot.
It didn't really feel like the 4th of July to us.
No. I watched that movie on Amazon with Chris Pratt.
I like it.
Yeah, it was all right. It was cool. And I introduced Independence Day to Cameron last night.
Oh shoot. 25 years ago, a man gave his life. Did you see that that picture? Of
Yeah.
The guy who that was fun. We went to church and then went after church. They did a barbecue at church, which we didn't stay very long. Then we went to my parents there for a couple hours. Kind of did a little bit of barbecue with them, and then we went to my in-laws because my sister-in-law and her family are here from Hawaii, and did her birthday dinner because it's her birthday this week. And now they're on a flight on their way to New York. Like literally, they left last night right after. So,
Well, JoJo's birthday is this week. She turns 9, and because of the pandemic, she didn't get baptized yet. So I'm doing that Thursday night.
Cool.
Right before she turns 9.
That's awesome.
Right.
That's way cool. Well, and then at dinner last night, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law announced that they're having their 6th kid.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I said.
Did you say it's your brother, Kyle?
I'm like, you guys are nuts. Love you, but you guys, what?
Is that your brother?
My sister-in-law and brother-in-law. So my wife's
Oh,
sister.
okay. Wow.
That's about 4 kids too many.
Yeah. Right?
They always wanted a big family. And they're total Hawaiian. Like, I mean, they're more Hawaiian than some Hawaiians. They act like beach bums. It's hilarious.
That's amazing. And even now that my kids are teenagers, I just go, how...
Tie-dye shirts, no shoe wear.
I just don't know how I don't know. The teenager thing's a whole different game.
Well, I think there are a lot of people still sleeping.
There's a couple on. Chris, I forgot to ask you a question, so I'm texting it to you now.
Okay.
Good morning, Jessica. I don't know if she can hear us, but
Good
thanks for
question.
being here. I got my coffee. We're good.
We're good. Thanks, Mike.
That was close. Close to disaster. It's a good thing he was home today. Can you imagine if I would have had to drive somewhere else? I wouldn't have had time. I don't have time for that.
All right, guys, you're live.
Cool. Good morning, everybody. It is bright and early, the day after the 4th of July. I think that we all accounted for the fact that we're not hard partiers and wouldn't be up late But then as we found out, everybody else was up late and had things that go boom. So not a whole lot of sleep was had by the three of us. So,
but we're good now because Sydney has her coffee.
I just got my coffee delivery, so we're gonna be good. Give me 5 minutes. It's gonna kick in.
Well, welcome to Bead Maker and Coffee here on July 5th. Great weekend. We celebrated our. I had a good time with my family. How about you, Sydney? You guys do anything special this weekend?
It was good. Yeah, it was good. The weekend itself was fairly calm. And then yesterday, my little town that I live in, Hidden Springs, has a 4th of July parade. And it's just the classic old small town, you know, all the kids decorate their bikes and stuff like that. And so since my kids don't do that anymore because they're too old, apparently, I volunteered to be one of the road closures, so I got to just watch the whole parade go by. So that was kind of cool. It was super fun. We had all the fire trucks and SWAT vehicles and, you know, a couple decorated cars, but mainly it was kids on bikes and scooters. And so that was really fun. And then I just went to the car races last night, like I always do on the 4th of July. So yeah, it was good. It was good. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, but for anybody that doesn't know, in Boise, we're on like a 21-day bender of over 100 degrees, and we're right in the middle of it. And yesterday it was only like 97. And when it got down to 93 at like 10, it actually felt a little bit cool. So we were thankful that somehow that ended up the coolest day. So yeah,
it wasn't too hot out here. I mean, it still was in the high 80s, but it felt nicer than previous days. I saw your TikTok. For those of you who don't know, Sydney has. I saw her video of. We have lots of TikToks, but I saw her video of her little town, and it looked like a fun little parade. I actually told my wife, I'm like, oh man, we should go to a little town like this in Idaho. We used to do that when I was a kid. When we visited the Bear Lake area on the 4th of July. It was cool.
Yeah, there's nothing better than a little parade on 4th of July. Just, I mean, all the decorations and the thoughtfulness that people put into them. It's so cool.
I'm going to jump in. Brittany saw that video and shared it with JoJo, and JoJo was like, cool. I want to live there.
I know. Next year, even if we have to kidnap the Woolman family.
Yeah.
Bring them up. That's awesome.
Cool.
Well, let's get into detailing stuff, Sydney. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about I've been using a lot of bug off the last few weeks since we did our Bead Maker and Coffee. You know, it kind of kicked me in the butt. We did a vehicle, normal wash, didn't really see any bugs on it. We go to do the detailed stuff, the clay, and I realized, hey guys, there's bugs on the mirrors, there's bugs on the windshield. We got to make sure we bug off every vehicle right now because it's that season. I'm happy to have bug off. I use it in my IK because I need so much of it, especially when we're doing like the front RV. And I've been using it a lot. So if you're not using bug off to kind of like pre-treat I mean, put it on a brush or whatever you're doing for windshields, but for mirrors, windshields, grills, headlights, bumpers, that's one thing that stood out to me the last week that I needed to step up and use a lot more of on every vehicle this summer.
Yep. And I like bug off in the IK too. I feel like it kind of atomizes it a little bit. I use it in the Pro or in the Multi, and I noticed that it kind of holds on to that area a little bit longer rather than just dripping down. Not always is the dripping down bad, but when I need them to really let it soak for a while, I use the IK because I feel like it kind of holds on to the paint a little bit better. So I really love it in the IK Multi also. And if you guys have not seen our video, we have a great video on YouTube about bug off if you haven't seen that. So go check that out. But we're going to be talking a lot about bug off this month just because there's bugs everywhere. everywhere, right?
Yeah, a lot of our RVs, I've used bug off in a foam cannon because having to get stuff in the front of an RV, if you have multiple RVs or like trailer, both covered in bugs, I hit the whole front end and had my guy start with the brush right away, 13 feet high to the top of the RV and get the whole front end. So that's a good trick. It is a designated foamer just for bug off though.
Yeah. Very cool.
What have you been detailing, Sydney?
So, like I said before, it's been 100 degrees here. It's been crazy hot. A lot of you know that I have a home shop, which it doesn't really matter if you're home or in an industrial shop. I think we're all going to be battling the heat. And so my detailing has been in just incredible heat and humidity. I do a lot of rinseless wash. So I'm washing inside my shop, and that creates a lot of humidity when you have to have the door closed because it's so darn hot outside. So I've been battling with that. And so just kind of wanted to touch on a little bit just how to adjust your products in the heat if you're also battling heat. One is airflow, so get as many fans as you can, and then there's different working times with the products. So primarily one that stood out to me was Legend. So last Monday, a week ago, I had to do Legend on a 4Runner. Actually, I did Inspiration on Monday and Legend on Tuesday, Sequoia and a 4Runner. And so as you can imagine, by the time I was done with my coating prep on both vehicles, it was 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time I was done washing and polishing and taking a million breaks for showers, it was late in the afternoon by the time that I got to actually apply the coating. And so I was a little bit worried because it was, 92 in my shop and 60% humidity. So the biggest thing was I had to get that humidity out of there. So before I started putting on the coating, I obviously started up my fans and I had to crack my garage just to get some of that humidity out of there. And then it changes the flash times, so that's just something that if you're used to a product having a flash time of a certain time, you just need to do test spots because you don't want products drying on the surface of the vehicle. And then mainly on coatings, you don't want them, they're going to flash faster in the heat and the humidity. And even when I got to the side that the fan was blowing, it was significantly different, right? Because we have air actually blowing on the car, and then there's other things to look like make sure that it's not, pushing up dust. So before I started the coating, I always took the extra step to go blow out my garage to make sure there was no, additional dust on the floor and things like that. So there's just a couple extra steps to take during the summer months when it's so hot. Just doing test spots, knowing the working time of your products. Even ones like bug off, when it's this hot, I'm having to not let it dwell as long as maybe I do in May. So that's kind of been my battle this week, but it's been good because I've been kind of on top of it and learning about the different, ways that the products react to the heat and things like that. Legend was phenomenal. So definitely that was really cool to see that it was still so user-friendly, even in extreme heat. It definitely changed the working time, but it was absolutely doable and it turned out fantastic. And I had one tiny high spot that was no bigger than a dime on the whole entire vehicle. So that was awesome. So that's kind of been my week, has been managing the heat and managing staying alive, detailing in the heat. So that was my week. I did finally buy an air conditioner and that's made life a little bit better, but it's still always going to be, the next couple of weeks are going to be monitoring the heat and the humidity.
It's been hot.
Yeah.
It's made things difficult, but being mobile, I've figured out how to get through it. Some of those jobs you just got to turn down and not do, but some of them you got to pull them inside. All right, so what's going on at PNS? That's what we always talk about next.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So we let's see. We've got our training center up and going. I know we talk about that, but it's kind of a big deal back at PNS headquarters. Lots of training classes coming through. Chris might be able to jump in here too with what the next available dates are. I know we've sold out for a couple. So that's kind of rocking and rolling, good times. I'm
sorry, we could jump in real quick. I could tell people that we're looking in.
Tell them and where to find.
So here, I'll jump on. So guys, for training, if you know somebody or if you're interested in training yourself with PNS up in Hayward, we're looking at September dates right now. Limited availability in September. About half the detailing class is still open, but the ceramic coating class is almost gone. And so that's filling up quick. But if you want to find out more information about that, there's two ways to do that. You can either reach out to me directly, which is chris@detailingsuccess.com, or you could also just go to the PNS Facebook page and look under the events tab on the Facebook page, and you should see everything listed there.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Cool.
That kind of covers that. But yeah, it's been filling up, and PNS has even actually been adding dates to accommodate for it. It seems to be the norm right now with training in the industry. It's all getting very busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's cool. And you might want to stay on for this next one. And then we have a couple exciting projects coming up. One that we aren't sharing too many details about yet, but want to mention it, that is super exciting, is the Air Force One project. So it's going to look a little bit different this year, but it is happening, and we are super excited about that. And do you want to add anything with that, Chris or Kyle?
I could just jump in a little bit. It is happening. We're not quite announcing the dates just yet, but it's right around the corner. Mm-hmm. And it's a little bit smaller deal, this time around. Usually we go and take care of Air Force One and about 16 other planes up at the Museum of Flight with a team of 60 detailers. Mm-hmm. Because of COVID this year, it's backing off a little bit. We have a team of 20 going out there. We're going to focus on 2 planes only, which is Air Force One and the B-29. Mm-hmm. And it almost wasn't going to happen because the museum's budget was hit hard, everything else. But one of the benefactors at the museum stepped up to make it happen, and pretty much demanded that we come out to at least work on those 2 planes. So we dropped everything to put together a team last minute, and we're working on it.
Cool. Awesome. So stay tuned for information with that. That's going to be super excited. Kyle, do you have something?
Yeah. So when we do the project, when this super secret project takes place, we're going to do probably a special edition Bead Maker and Coffee. And it probably won't be a normal time because of working hours. And so we'll make that announcement when it'll happen. And who will be on it. There may be some guests. Mm-hmm. And we'll probably show off a new product during that. That's kind of what we're planning on. So you want to pay attention so we can show that off.
Yep.
And doing a lot of content showing off PNS's Metal Bright, because Metal Bright is used on these 2 planes, on the Air Force One and there at the museum, and the B-29 bomber.
Yeah.
Been lucky to have been part of this project for many, many years, and Metal Bright works great. So we'll show before and after and how we use it to get in. It'll be really cool. So stay tuned. Coming future, come out soon of dates, and we have any weeks in advance, right? So that's what we'll do. Let's talk about a teaser we sent out the other day. You did the bug off.
Yeah. So this month, you guys know always every month we like to focus on something. So this month we're focusing on bug off, but also focusing on another little side project of Team PNS, and that is updating some of our labels from the Pro Series line. So if some of you guys noticed, you saw in the latest video, we have a new bug off quart, and this one's kind of hard to see on camera, so I apologize for that, but I don't know if you can see, do you see it has like little hexagons there?
I think it's a prototype label. I don't think it's the exact
Yes, this is a prototype label. And then one fun thing that this was also a teaser on TikTok, if you follow us on TikTok. So if you don't, you might want to head over there. Bug Off is coming out in the pints. So these are not out yet. They are coming very soon, which is why we're showing it. And so this is so awesome. We're super excited about Bug Off being in the pints. And then another product that just recently got refreshed is the Spray It. And this is one that we don't talk about very often, but you will see it this month. So this is a very old school product. It's been around for a long time. It's just a really great spray carnauba based wax. And so this is, you spray it when the car's wet. You can use it dry, but it's best when wet, and you kind of use it as a drying aid, and it leaves behind some wax. And so a lot of people still like to use these polymer waxes. And so this one's really cool. This one you can really see the hexagons on. And so the changes we made was just updating the label, and now it's got the item number up top there, the new 60-year logo. So they're just really nice, clean looking labels. So a couple of the products in the Pro line will be getting new labels and things like that. So we're super excited about that. So that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on this month. And like Kyle said, there might be a surprise one that comes out that we announce this month. So stay tuned for that.
I think Spray It, just like No Rub, really didn't get it. We just cycled it right in to as orders came.
Yeah. Right.
Through. So Spray It, I believe, is out there.
It's out there.
And
yep.
You know, it's kind of funny being a rep for PNS. When I use Spray It, I liked it. I mean, it works great. I love Bead Maker more. Bead Maker will still, because it's so versatile. But everyone something that said, we'll say old school detailers or people that were used to a traditional wax. They wanted to say wax. And Bead Maker is not a wax because it's not carnauba based. Doesn't have wax in it. Those types of. So it's been a huge hit with those people that want the word wax. Even though I think Bead Maker, and I know Bead Maker is going to be a little bit better protection. Spray It does leave behind a nice shine and protection. A couple of questions about what we just talked about. So let's address this one first. Is the Bead Maker in the pint ready to use? So the Bead Maker in the pint is Bug Off as you would get it in a gallon. Yes. We didn't dilute them at all. Right. Bug Off can be used right out of the gallon, and Bug Off can be diluted. I dilute it when I put it in my IK. But if I had a pint, you know, if I'm on the road and I want to get some bugs off the front of my car, I'll probably use Bug Off, scrub it, and then use a little like Epic to clean that. It's kind of my waterless wash. So no, Bug Off is used, but it's not diluted like
it's not
the
diluted,
pints of glass cleaner of our True View or our Dynamic. We didn't dilute it down.
Right.
So the only thing you need to be concerned about off. I always rinse a car off before I use Bug Off. But more be careful on the windshield. Put it on a bug scrubber first. You never just want to spray it on a hot surface. That's all. But that's a great question.
And then we did have a question. Jessica. Yeah, and we had a question come up on that video that we posted the other day regarding trim, plastic trims. So one person had mentioned that they had it stain their plastic trim. So if the vehicle you're working on is really old and that trim is already in bad shape, like Kyle said, just make sure you wet it down really well first. Don't use it on dry because any product that you use on that trim, you know, Bug Off, an all-purpose cleaner, anything that you use is likely going to stain that trim. So just make sure that it's wet prior, or like how we put it on the windows, spray it on the bug remover applicator first, and then do the front of the car if the trim's in bad condition. I've never had a problem with trim, and I would say that most of the vehicles that I'm doing are, the trim's in pretty good condition. And so just watch that. If you have something that's, very dry and, kind of on its last legs in the first place, just be cautious with anything that you spray on the front end of the car. But definitely for sure on bug off. But normally speaking, I've never had any issues on the black plastic trim. But just use your best judgment. If it's already dry, maybe take some extra care there.
I think Kyle froze up.
There.
Oh, you're there. Okay.
Sorry, I'm getting my guys ready for work. Get this done.
So Chris, I think we're still going to need to skip that one.
Gonna need to skip that one?
Yeah.
I don't know what this person's talking about.
Yeah, me either. We'll have to skip that one. We don't know.
All right.
Okay, so Jeff C says, when wiping off Legend, which towels do you use, and do you prefer 2 or 3 towels?
3 towels.
Kyle, how about you?
3 towels. I always do 3. I don't care what coating it is. Maybe sole. I get away with using less towels, but I always want to use 3 towels. I've just, over the years, got a little cocky a few times and thought, oh, I can do this in 2 towels, and then I had to fix a high spot or a smudge. And so 3 towels just ensures quality. What kind of towels do you like? That was another question. What are your favorite towels for this?
So for Legend, I like, honestly, I like the 300s, the edgeless 300s. I've used the 365s too, but I actually prefer a little bit lower pile. So I generally use a 300, the edgeless 300 from the Rag Company. I'll use that as my first towel. And then my second towel, I'm really liking the Creature. And I know Levi likes Creature as his first towel, but I'm liking it as the second towel. And so, something that's a little bit longer pile, a little bit fluffier, but not real, too stiff, where you can still feel the surface of the vehicle to make sure that you're touching the whole surface. That's my kind of thing with some of those, like the Eagles and, those, what are those thick white ones called that Keith likes? Those ones, I can't feel the surface.
The miners.
Yeah, I can't feel the surface of the paint. And so it makes me nervous that I'm leaving behind high spots. So I love the Creature for the second towel. That one's been going really, really well. So I think no matter if you use the Creature first or second, that's a great towel to pair with Legend. And I also do, I would say more like 2.5 towels. Because I, have a lot of time, I'm in my shop, I'm alone, I don't have to worry quite as much about high spots, but I would still say that half towel, because my answer would have been 2, but yes, I do always go back over the whole car with a third towel, after the fact, just to kind of double check, make sure there's nothing left. So I guess my official answer would be 3, but I would have said 2, but I do probably use 3. So what's your favorite towels?
Since you introduced me to the edgeless 350, I really like that towel. Before that, I've always been a lower pile, and a lot of detailers use them because they're cheap and easy to throw away. But I've used the Costco towel in the past, and I had good results. But I do like how the 350 just lays it down. It feels smoother in your hand. You don't have a tag to rip off.
Right.
It's just a better quality.
Yeah.
And I got the yellow ones anyways. So it was kind of like, the same feel, just a different color.
Yeah. I like the
different color.
I definitely like the edge for sure. I have no scientific data to say that the edge drags through the coating, but for some reason in my head, I feel like it does. All right. So ceramic certification for Legend in NorCal, ?
Yes. I believe that Prentice is doing the certification for the other coatings, which should include the Legend. It is not the same as the testing that we've been doing in Southern California. As far as Rennie, Chris, and I have been doing a Legend verification. The reason why is because during apprentices class, you already are doing all the polishing anyways. But for the legend verification that we've been kind of, what would you say, Chris? We've been testing it out.
Yeah.
Seeing how it goes with small groups, where it's more of a, you show us that you polish, that you have the problem, and then we do a light demo on legend, and then we walk you through it a little coaching, not really a training, and then we let you go, and let you coat something. So it's a little bit different, but yes, Northern California is doing certifications, and
we touched on a little bit earlier.
legend is a part of it.
Yeah, we touched on a little earlier with the training classes, but the ceramic coating class in Northern California at PNS headquarters in Hayward, I believe the class is $495 is the cost, and you run through the entire PNS ceramic coating line, including the fabric protectant and everything. So you learn how to use all of it. And when you walk out of there, not only do you get a certificate for everything you did, but you get a whole kit of one of everything from the coating line. So, it's a pretty good class. Prentice teaches it. He does only 4 students in the coating class, so he keeps it small so that the experience is really good for everybody. And there you go. And just like before, you can find information on the PNS Facebook page on the event section.
Hey, Chris, what shirt are you wearing today?
Yeah. It is a Ferrari. It's a Ferrari.
That like the white? Is that like the white, like the number on this side? Is that what that is?
I think.
Grill.
Yeah, I think it is. The meatball.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a. I believe it's a 250 GTO. The most expensive public sale of any car was one of these at $70 million that they know of. So one of these sold for $70 million, and it was the owner of the WeatherTech floor mat company that bought it.
Wow.
Cool.
Man, I should have started.
Yeah.
I've seen those guys at SEMA. Oh, let's talk about SEMA real quick again. We got to keep bringing up SEMA.
Well, go ahead. Then we'll get to Jessica's question.
So Sydney and I have been working on SEMA stuff with Bob. We got really cool stuff planned. We're really excited because SEMA is going to be in the new West Hall and all the detailing stuff. So unlike before where other companies are like out in a tent or in like the detailing stuff is in the West Hall with all of like the truck accessories and 4-wheel drive stuff. So if you are planning on coming to SEMA, we hope to see you guys. We may even have a little cool area for us to do some bead maker and coffees in our booth. And I'm super excited about SEMA. So I want to see a lot of people.
Yeah, we're really excited. So make sure if you've never been to SEMA before, check into it. It's really easy to get tickets by registering your company. It's not expensive. I think it's $40 or $50 for the pass, and that's for the whole week. And it's awesome. And this year's going to be crazy amazing. So make sure you check out SEMA if you have not been there yet. And like Kyle said, we hope to see a lot of you there. So Jessica, I'm with you on this, girl. Any particular reason PNS Air Fabric Refresher doesn't get a whole lot of hype and isn't more widely available with online distributors? We love it, and we wish we didn't have to go through an alternate supplier when we need to stock up. Exactly. It is really a great product, and I use it a lot too. We are just working our way through that other line. It's not up on the radar as of right now, but everything is on the radar. So, and also some things like Spray It kind of jumped its place in line because the labels were gone. So if that happens, it gets moved up, which is cool. But that is a very great product. I use it all the time. for those that don't know what it is, think of it's kind of like a Febreze, but better, professional grade. So you can spray it on seats, carpets, anything that kind of has that nasty smell. And it really does eliminate a lot of odors without the use of like an ozone machine or something like that. So if you have a vehicle that truly has, set in odors like cigarettes or sporting equipment or something like that, you're still going to want to turn to an odor doc and fully remove those odors. But for kind of light scents, just maybe even just if the car's old or whatnot, the Air Fabric and Refresher does work really, really well. I do really love that product. So I'm not sure on the online distributor. We could maybe beg Kyle to see if one of the online distributors that he knows would like to pick up that product, but it's a great product. I totally agree.
I'll look at the logistics of shipping it. The reason why they may not be doing it is because it may not be easy to ship.
Okay.
But I don't see why. If we're spraying in carpet, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
There's some products like acids.
Yeah. I don't think it's too. I don't think it's too aggressive. Yeah, I don't think it's too aggressive. I think it probably, just not a lot of people know about it. So it's one of those things that the more we let people know about it, they'll start to like it. But it is a light scent that, I've never had a customer, not like the scent of it. It just is just a super clean. But it is a lot like Febreze, but works better. It's not just a cover up. So the scent doesn't last for days and days and smell super chemically at all, which is nice. But if you think about it in the same way, it does go in there and kind of lift out the odors. So,
answer to your question, there's no particular reason. It's just PNS being 6 years old, as we found working with PNS the last few years and longer, there are many great products that are kind of overlooked. One of them was Clarity Cream. That one was been overlooked for many years, and Kyle's, it's kind of how so we're working on it. But it just new label. Part of it is, getting the material, bottling stuff, and getting the rest of the team on board with what we're seeing. Just like what we're doing right now with another product that'll be coming out soon. We talked about it it's almost a year ago, 6 months ago, back in November, right, when we did our SEMA event. So it takes things and bug off, like you see the new label coming out. That's something we've actually been waiting on a long time. We developed with Bob a new label design. We didn't really love it. We kept trying, and finally we had to send it off to have them work on it. I would love. So Spray It, on the other hand, did out of the park the first try. He sent us the label and we're like, tweak this and it looks beautiful. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's happening, but I'll find out. Reach out to us if you don't see anything pop up, or we'll talk about it in a couple weeks.
Yeah. All right. So Ryan says, will Bead Maker applied over a ceramic coating affect or diminish that already crazy beading or sheeting action? I think it just enhances it, honestly. I don't think it diminishes it. Yeah. I don't think it diminishes it at all.
I think it does enhance it. Now, I think over time, I mean, you don't want a bead maker like every day on it, but no, if you let it breathe and do its thing, and you're doing bead maker every couple of weeks or every month or even every, like my truck hadn't been bead makered in almost a year because it's ceramic coated. But once I did bead maker, man, it just popped and glowed, and it's looked beautiful for a few months now. I mean, the contact of a bead maker and ceramic coating are very, very similar. They bead so well.
Yep. So no worries there. It'll go over great.
David, new detailer, looking forward to using PNS products.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thanks for joining us, David.
Okay, so explain the damp towel wipe off.
Yeah, so it's not a wipe off with a damp towel, really. The idea behind the damp towel, we can explain a little bit more a little bit more in detail, but was to we want to keep as much coating on the surface. The theory was that you were actually pushing or keeping more coating on with a dry towel, the damp towel, than a dry towel. Some would do a damp towel, a dry, and a dry. There's a few different preferences, but what it would work with, it would help with the humidity or dryness by allowing you to apply that, and it works really well. Like my friends in Arizona, they like using the damp towel in Scottsdale, but I don't use a damp towel. But how that was pretty cool. One of the owners of PNS actually died. One of our coatings, he died inspiration, and got a white panel and put it on, and then he leveled it like the dry 3-towel method, and then he did a damp towel method, and found that on the surface with the coating than a lot more coating. So the idea was you're leaving more coating on the surface.
Yeah, and I think too, for me, where the damp towel comes in and where I advise people to use it is especially if you're new to coatings. Now I don't use the wet towel anymore, but I feel like when you're getting used to inspiration or just doing a coating in general, the wet towel is almost kind of like a little security insurance policy that you're getting all of the coating, leveled and, not leaving behind any high spots. It gives you just a little bit more working time with the product. And it just kind of ensures no high spots, because the wet towel leaves behind, kind of like Legend, it leaves behind that clearly obvious wetness on the paint. So then when you go back with that third towel, you've hit the entire panel. Whereas on a dry towel, you kind of just learn that over time after you've, done so many coatings. And so I think that it's great for, do-it-yourselfers. It's great for new to coatings. And also just especially for shops that have staff that work for them. Kyle, you might agree with this. When you have staff helping you with the coatings, like I say, the wet towel is just almost an insurance policy that there's not going to be behind, high spots. And so it's a great method to know and teach your guys that method, and, and then DIYers and things like that. But I think if you're the one putting on the coatings all the time, and once you become really proficient at it, you're able to eliminate the wet towel. I don't use the wet towel anymore.
Yeah, I don't use it anymore. It worked really well with inspiration. But
it doesn't work great with Legend, right?
It doesn't work great with Legend. Yeah. And I feel like I've gotten past the wet towel method as far as efficiency. But man, at first it worked really well. It's been around for a little while.
Yep.
All right, let's get moving, Chris. We got a lot to do in the next 22 minutes.
20 minutes.
I was waiting for more questions to come in. They're a little
This is a great question. So JD asked, would Legend and Inspiration play well together? I have a car with a year of Inspiration, and of course I want to use Legend since it looks awesome. Can it go on top? Yes, it can. And I actually have this situation with my car, but here's the deal. At first, when I read the question, I was like, no. But when you said it's been a year, you're going to be fine. What you need to do, though, is at least buzz over the Inspiration with NB. Don't just stick the Legend over the top. You're going to want to go over it just to make sure that you're removing any bead maker and that you're kind of refreshing the surface, and you're going to be fine. Where they do not play together well is on initial installation. So you're not going to want to lay down a coat of Legend and then try to lay down Inspiration, not at the same time. If you have a car that has Inspiration previously installed, you're going to be fine because that coating is fully cured and done. They're not going to play well together early on or in the curing process, just because they do have similar solids, but the Legend is so much higher. And so where we've really seen it go wrong is when guys try to put inspiration over legend right away. That does not work.
So just do a prep polish, like Sydney said.
Yeah.
Just do lightly abrade the surface.
Yep. And do the paint prep, wipe everything down.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. So just do prep polish, paint prep, and you're going to be good. That last tip was on legend, correct? No, I'm forgetting.
That might be going back to the wet towel conversation.
Wet towel does not work well on legend at all. The only reason here is because legend already kind of does that sweating thing on its own. And so we found that adding more water to legend doesn't go quite as well. Maybe some people have had some different reactions in different environments. For me, the wet towel is not a good idea on legend. So no, the wet towel is primarily for use and inspiration. Yeah.
Well, the reason why, if you don't dry a car fully before you do the coating, if you're coating and you get a drip of water out of like the door handle or like the corner of a mirror, and you coat through that coating, you better level it right away, because for some reason moisture actually activates legend faster, and you'll leave a high spot smudge. So make sure the vehicle's completely dry. So I wouldn't do the wet towel method with legend. I haven't done that. 3 dry towels works great, low pile, and then you just got to figure out your kind of blending and wiping time. How long is the curing process?
Follow up. How long is the curing process? So it's probably 3 to 7 days. I always say 7 days, just so that we know, because again, environments, temperature, all of that is going to factor in to the curing process. If the car's parked outside in the sun while the person's at work every day, that coating is going to cure a lot faster than a show car that's stuck in a garage somewhere. So there's not really a blanket answer for this. So I always just say 7 days, no matter what, even for the car that's parked outside, even though that one's most likely cured in 3 days, just because of the UV light. But so I always use just 7 days as a guideline. There's going to be a lot of vehicles that are fully cured prior to that, but we just go with the longest. Is that what you do, Kyle?
Yeah. So what I like to tell, I kind of think of it as multiple steps in the curing. So a few hours after the coating is done, the customer can take it home. As long as we don't have any, wet weather, which California is dry as can be right now, so we're not worried about rain. And so, the first curing, then you're about 3 or 4 days in, drive it as normal. If you go through a tiny little puddle, it's not going to be a problem. The top layer is cured enough, and you should be fine. But it's like, okay, it's cured enough that I can wash it. It's cured enough that I can wipe it down, do a rinseless wash, or something like that. So kind of think it as a 3 steps to the final cure. And if the weather's nice, we're done finishing coating, I love to pull it outside, turn the vehicle around in the sun, double check it for any smudges, high spots you may see, and let it cure a little bit before the customer would take it, or before I would leave their home. And we want to get a good curing, especially on the top surfaces, because that's where we always have one got it wet, or some other contaminant fell on the vehicle. So the faster that cures, the better. And it's not just the heat from the sun, it's also the UV that helps cure it.
Yep. Hey, Chris, do we want to go back to the very beginning? There was a comment left that I wanted to touch on just because it's relative right now with all this heat. It was the one about...
It must have been this one.
Paint gloss over... Oh, well, that's one. Yeah, the bug off video. You looking fire.
Fire!
Yeah, that was pre-COVID. So the bug off video is great, but a comment right before that though about the dusting on Bead Maker with the paint gloss, it was right after we started, and they just mentioned that excellent trick in taking the charge off the surface after applying Bead Maker to lower the dusting. So I typically, when this dusting issue comes up, I always kind of giggle to myself because I don't really have that issue. I don't see the issue, but I know exactly what's causing it, and I can force the issue to happen. So it's obviously if I spray Bead Maker on a vehicle and let it go right away, or if I drive the customer's car home, yeah, there's dust on it. I think there probably would be anyway, but I would agree that it does attract it a little bit more, especially on the back windshield. So when we were at SEMA in Big Bear, when we did our little SEMA excursion last November, we talked about, and we did a great video on just tips and tricks of Bead Maker. And one of mine was to wipe down the car. If you don't have that ample curing time for Bead Maker after you apply it, or if you live in a really dry, staticky area, you can wipe down the car with paint gloss, because paint gloss is an anti-static and Bead Maker does have a positive charge. And so we think that that's where the dusting issue is coming from, is this positive charge of Bead Maker coupled with the long pile towels that everyone likes to use. It kind of creates that perfect electric charge. So, and then that's pulling in the dust. So if you use paint gloss right over Bead Maker, wait 10, 15 minutes after you've applied Bead Maker and just spray it down quickly with paint gloss. Paint gloss adds that anti-static, so then it cuts down on the dusting issue. So this does really work, and I have noticed it in the last 2 weeks because it is very dry here right now. I live in the desert, and there's a lot of dust on cars. And so I definitely noticed that the paint gloss helps cut that down. And also thus cleans it up too, which is nice. So if you have not seen that video or haven't tried that experiment yet, do, because it does really, really help. And so it's one of those things, I don't have to wipe down every car with paint gloss all year long. It's just certain times, like in the spring when the pollen's out crazy, if I have to release a car too early, if I do my own car and have to drive it right after I've washed it. I normally try to wash my car at night so that if I do use Bead Maker, it has all night to cure. So, there's just certain times that I have to throw that in, but I don't have to do paint gloss every single time. Just if I'm doing something against the best recommendations of Bead Maker. So yeah, that's great. If you haven't checked that out, do.
Looks like we have a lot of hellos. We got Spencer and Luis from Puerto Rico, and David. So thank you guys for joining us today and all your good questions so far. Man, Sydney, we got other things coming up too we need to talk about. So
we didn't talk about McCall's. That's in like a month. Yeah.
That's what I wanted to bring up. So Sydney and I are kind of Bob and Keith don't know this yet, but we're planning on doing our Bead Maker and coffee from PNS of the McCalls. So we're we'll be there to do that. For those of you who don't know, the McCalls that we talk about is the McCalls Motorworks Revival, and PNS is the official detail team for the McCalls. And we get to go up there and clean up very rare classic Ferraris and Porsches and one-of-a-kind cars, all the way to brand new exotics and hypercars. And what's past a hypercar now, Chris? Because some of these things are like a galactic car. I have no idea what they call them anymore.
I don't think there's anything past a hypercar yet. I don't know. It's
supercars and now the hypercars.
I don't know. They're cars that cost more than
hypercars.
Yeah.
Oh, there's.
Well, as your amateur producer here, I'm gonna encourage you that if you're gonna do Bead Maker and coffee from there, we need to make sure we have good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we actually, it's the first thing we brought up. So do we have Wi-Fi in the training center? Because I think we'll probably do there and also McCall's and show everyone those cool cars.
Spencer says they're spaceships.
They're spaceships, spaceship cars. some of these cars I've been able to work on. I've only seen in movies, like literally. Years ago, I got to touch like the prototype and work on the Lycan Hypersport there at McCall's. I've only seen that in Fast and the Furious. It's pretty cool stuff. So we get to go there and prep the cars and get them ready for the big show, like kind of the kickoff for Monterey Car Week. So that's happening in August.
And we'll be there. Both Kyle and I are on the team, and so you'll see a lot more coverage this year than in the years past at this event. Just because we're super excited to be there, and so we'll make sure that we share lots of stories, come on live. So you'll want to hang out with us that week. That's going to be super, super awesome. So we're so excited. I think we leave in just a little over a month for that project. I can't wait.
Yeah, I remember. We worked together on the project in last year on it, doing stuff because of that thing, that happened last year. But I remember that first year there was a Bugatti Chiron that Sydney and I were working on. I'm like, here, there's a scratch on the clear bra. Here's a polisher, Sydney. Go ahead and polish it. So we cleaned up the scratches on the clear bra. Really easy, light polish.
Yeah.
I think we used and then Sydney didn't realize that it was like the $6 million car at the time, and she was like, "How come you had me polish on that?" I'm like, "You're good. You can do it."
Yeah.
That was the first. How I would do it.
Yeah, that was the first day that Kyle and I met. I'll never forget that. And so what happened is you handed me the polisher, and I was like, "No, I don't want to do it." And you said, "Just do it." And so I did one, and I was like, "Oh, that came off pretty good." And then I went around and I was, working all over the car. And it was funny because I noticed people taking pictures and video, and I thought in my head, and that you guys, this is literally like the first 20 minutes that we're there, like the first 20 minutes. I didn't know anybody. I was this girl from Idaho, put on this detailing team. I mean, it was a mess. But anyway, so I'm going around this car like it's nothing with this, cordless flex. And then that night in the car, or in the van, we're all heading back, and Rennie was sitting next to me, and he said, "God, could you believe that the wrap kit on that Chiron was $300,000 or something like that?" And I looked at him and said, "What do you mean the wrap kit was 300 grand?" And he was like, "Yeah, that carbon fiber PPF or whatever it was 300,000. And I went, "Well, how much is the car?" And he said, cause I thought the car was 300,000. And he goes, "No, the car was 2.3 million or 3.2 or whatever it was." And I just remember looking at Kyle, and I was like, "Dude, throw up a flag." You can't just.
I did the test spot
on minivans.
I did the test spot on it. I knew what we were doing, and then I saw you. I'm like, "Here, just do like this, and we'll be good." We're just cleaning up a little clear bra. What happened is this car, it was fully clear bra. I don't know if it was $300,000 for the clear bra. That's crazy, but I could definitely see $30,000. But that paint job, was blue carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And so we were going around, and it was transported there, so it probably was rubbed up against, and someone.
Yeah.
All we had to do is get a little heat on it. These light scuffs off. They're really light.
Yeah.
But that was fun.
It was super fun.
I was like, and then Mark Elliott and I got in that car and took pictures like we were gangster rappers for a little bit. Because we could. That was like one of the only cars. It wasn't owned by anyone. It was owned by a dealership. So we were like free to do some cool stuff with it that we don't get to with other cars. So
that was fun. So stay tuned for that.
We're excited. Pictures. I'm sure you'll see some creative bead maker and coffee pictures from us too. Let's go to this.
So that is the week of August 9th.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we go to the rumor real quick?
The rumor.
Fun.
So I've heard a couple rumors about Iron Buster being the same as aluminum brightener. Definitely no. Iron
No.
Buster, I know for. Iron 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 Buster, I know completely new product. It was completely new, developed. It was not an existing product that PNS had. So that was a brand new, and I don't believe aluminum brightener doesn't turn purple, does it?
Nope.
Yeah.
Aluminum
No, it's
brightener, or at
totally
least
different product.
our aluminum brightener product is just an acid. It's like a mag wheel cleaner, which is a completely different type of chemical or acid that Iron Buster is. And I would say aluminum brightener is kind of more like our than it is anything else. And both need to be done with care. So you got to make sure that just like, we always promote the International Detailing Association. The IDA is important in best practices. We always talk about deactivating your acids. And that's one that you need to make sure you wear protection when using gloves, respirator, that stuff. Don't fool with that product. You can mess up someone's car with aluminum brightener.
Yeah.
If you're not careful. But Iron Buster works great.
Completely different product. Yeah.
If you want to, send me a DM on Instagram, then you can tell me where you heard that, because that's kind of one that we sure is not going around.
Yeah. Okay, so Playmaker, is it a true all-in-one? Your thoughts on process of wash, clay, Playmaker, followed by bead maker. From there, can you truly call it good?
So Playmaker, a true all-in-one, I would say it has abrasive in it that do remove some minor flaws, and it has the same type of technology and polymer as bead maker. So if that's what you think is an all-in-one, there are other brands that have some similar to Playmaker. It hits that same mark. I honestly, an all-in-one for me, being doing this for 22 years, I used to use more like a cleaner wax as an all-in-one, like ultra coat polish. And so both of them work well for cut and protection, or light cut and protection. Yes, you could put.
I think that's kind of my feeling too. Yeah, you absolutely can. There's definitely that process. It works. The part that I get a little bit nervous about is where you say, can you truly call it good? Like, what do we mean for good? The protection level is going to be quite a bit less than if you do it the way that Kyle and I do, which is we just generally use a cleaner wax or a polish and then put down bead maker, because then bead maker is cross-linking with the paint. If you put Playmaker on there, the bead maker is not the first thing touching the paint, if that makes sense. So you're not going to get as good of a bond with the bead maker on top of Playmaker. It's going to look great. It's going to be great for probably a couple weeks to a couple months at the most. But for me, if I'm going to be doing, I don't really do for my customers what you would call an all-in-one, but I would call that a one-step. And so my one-step for a customer, one-step wax, polish and wax is what in the customer's mind it is. So I like to just do a polish because I get quite a bit more correction than an all-in-one. And then I've got a lot cleaner paint. And then I'm a huge fan of bead maker. So then I lay down a good coat of bead maker and I know that car's protected for a good couple months, like truly protected. So for me, calling it good is just, a little bit, it's the same amount of time and effort on my part, but I know that the paint is getting a little bit more correction, a little bit cleaner, and a little bit stronger bond from bead maker. So you can certainly do that. Just know that it's more of a temporary calling it good.
Yeah, so I look at Playmaker, just like Playmaker is kind of like my two paths over it, wiped it, cleaned up the paint, go, right? Someone who's not going to pay for what I would call more of a one-step. Because a one-step for me is going to be more like 6 passes, 2 heavy, 2 medium, 2 light, with a probably a little bit more dense pad, and I'm going for a little bit more correction. but the price point for me is double or even more than just what I'm going to do with a quick buzz of Playmaker. Playmaker, I'll do the whole car in, 45 minutes, maybe even less. One step, it's going to take me 2 hours or 3 hours to do that. So the price point will be the amount of protection on the one step. I'm going to be using Bead Maker on top of it. When I use Playmaker, it's just Playmaker. So it should fit your and services, what you're providing. If you're more of an express service, Playmaker is the way to go. If you're more of a little bit more detailed and trying to refine the paint in a one step, then you're going to get $400 or $500 for it. One step with a wax. Do the other way. So I hope that helps. So what do you think?
So
go for it. You think
JD asked, what do you think of the cordless flex? I've heard mixed reviews, then it doesn't have enough power. What's your experience? And Kyle uses this all the time, so you take this one.
So I have both. I have all the flexes. I'll say that. I have all the flex polishes. The original 3401. I have the new XCE corded. I have the new XFE cordless versions, both. The XFE, I'll start with that one, which is a great polisher for applying a wax, doing light cleaning, polishing. It's not a paint correction tool. That will stall. The XCE, which is the forced rotation battery powered unit, it doesn't have much power as the 3401 or the corded. It's right. But it's still enough to get the job done. It would take me longer to do a whole vehicle with the cordless polisher, but I don't use it for the whole vehicle. I use it for when a customer has a scratch, it's that just the roof of the car. Even though I'm polishing the whole vehicle, I'll have one of my guys grab the cordless because he's not dragging the cord up and over the side of the vehicle or over shoulder. Or, when we climb on top of a motorhome to polish the paint either on the top cap or the rear cap, grab cordless and pray that they don't drop it because that'd be really bad. But it doesn't seem exact power. So if you think you're going to be polishing an entire vehicle with the cordless, you may want to look into a corded unit. It just has a little bit more power, a little bit more speed. If you want to use it for those spot fixes, quick fixes, that's where it's money. That's where it's a time saver. It's efficient. It's just another one of those, brushes in your bag of tricks. So I do like it. I like the XCE better.
Yep. Cool. How about Tim's question, Chris? Speaking of all-in-ones, I find on white vehicles I like buff tone, and then I use Bead Maker.
Yeah, that works.
That's awesome. Yeah,
great. You just gotta work the buff tone or less of it.
Yep.
It'll clean. It'll leave a little bit of protection behind, but buff tone can be harder to wipe off if you don't cycle it just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yep.
But the results are worth it.
Yeah, I love buff tone. All right, Spencer back with, have you guys had any experience with Inspiration Fabric Coating Protectant? Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I use it a lot, but I use it for probably more non-traditional things. I find that I use it more on household items like backpacks, shoes. I do all of my family's shoes. Every time somebody gets a new pair of shoes, they're not allowed to wear them for 2 days. So I love it on that kind of stuff. You can put it on purses, handbags, things like that, especially the backpacks. For anybody that's a parent and has kids in junior high or above, they have to have these like $100 backpacks. And so I definitely use it on all the Jam Sports, all the backpacks for sure. But then, yes, I absolutely use it in my detail business. So on carpeting, all of the, if there's fabric seats, I don't see too many fabric seats nowadays, but fabric seats. And then one big one that we get questions about all the time is the Alcantara or microfiber seats. I do use it on that all the time, and I've had really good success with that. It's just the application is a little bit different. I always spray it on an applicator and apply it in one direction in even motions, and then go back about an hour later and put on a second coat is the only difference there. But otherwise, I think we have a couple application videos on our YouTube, but super easy, straightforward. Biggest thing is wipe off of the overspray from surrounding areas. That's kind of the only thing that would be kind of crazy. And but yeah, I use it all the time. And yes, Spencer, on convertible tops, awesome on convertible tops. But again, watch your overspray on the windshield and the paint; it will cure. So just make sure.
Yeah, if you're going to do a convertible top, I would just go buy plastic from and just cover the paint. It looks really professional when you do that for your customers, that you're taking the time to do that, but you just want to make sure that you're not, getting it all over. Even going as far as to, a lot of convertibles have the rear window. Sometimes it's like a plastic, sometimes it's glass. Just don't get it on that either. It's an upsell for me. It really is. I charge, and it works good from floor mats and carpets. I put it on leather, but to help keep those clean and keep water from going down in there. But really, it shines on the upholstery. Yeah,
Spencer, go check out our YouTube channel, the PS Detail Products. There is an application video that I did probably a year and a half ago, where it actually shows on all the surfaces. So from shoes to fabric mats and then I show how to put it on a convertible top, minus the masking everything off. But that's a great idea. Just for the sake of the video, we just did it and wiped it off. But so go check out that video. It explains all the different application methods. And yeah, that coating is awesome. Really, really good. Good morning, Roger. Thanks for joining us.
Roger's in Wyoming.
Oh, cool.
So.
Nice.
Morning.
That's what we've been forgetting to ask people where they're at. We like to know where people are at.
Oh yeah, we got to remind people of that at the beginning. We talked about that last time.
Yep. Awesome.
Well, it looks like we are starting to wrap it up with questions. Everyone's put in a bunch of really good questions today, and thanks for joining us on this day after the 4th of July. We want to keep it consistent and continue to bring it. So even though we thought about moving it, we're like, no, we got to keep it every other week. That's what we're going to try and do, just because there are so many questions coming in on our Instagram and our Facebook. We want to make sure that we give you guys the opportunity to ask those live. If you do have questions or suggestions, please head over to our Instagram, PS Detail Products, and send them there. Sydney and I are the ones usually posting there, and we do Hiram. Happy 5th of July. Just froze for a second. Is your coffee kicking? You look happy.
No.
hey, we gotta give a shout out to Hiram. That cool picture of the bead maker with the sparklers in the background. Those sparklers came from him. He gave them last time I saw him up in Big Bear.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks, Hiram. That made a great video.
Thanks, man. That was awesome. I actually think I used some that you gave me too yesterday. I gave my kids.
That's funny.
They played with them. They had more fun with them while we were watching our neighbors, shoot mortars into the air and set car alarms off.
That's funny. Uni must have used hers too. I saw a picture where she was setting them off and she tagged Hiram, so that those must have been from him too. That's nice.
He's like a dealer.
Yeah, Hiram. You're a sparkler dealer. That's funny. Very cool. All right. Well, everybody have an awesome rest of your day. Hopefully some of you have the day off. I know I did take the day off, so I might go back to bed, but thanks for everybody for joining us. This was great. I'm glad that we all got up early and did the bead maker and coffee, answered some questions. It's going to be an awesome day. I'm going to go try to stay cool.
Yeah, I'm jealous to get to go back to sleep. I got to go back to work.
Oh, who are we kidding? I'm not going to go back to sleep.
I got to go hunt down.
Sounded good.
I got to go hunt down one of my employees. I've already been here getting the van ready for an appointment, and yeah, he's not here yet. So I may be working by myself. The other two already requested the day off, so I have a light day. It's easy, just maintaining 2 vehicles that I'm already ceramic coated. Even if I have to do them myself, it won't be a big deal. Really wanted to get them done and go to the gym and relax, because yesterday it was busy. I didn't even get it out yesterday.
Yeah, me either. It was crazy.
Go.
Cool.
All right, everyone. We'll watch for our next watch for that special edition of Bead Maker and Coffee, and we have a lot coming up over the next couple months. So it's going to be a fun rest of the summer.
Yep, very good.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks,
everybody.
Bye bye.
Yep.